chicken's right here.
Good.
All right, so this is how we butcher or start the process of processing a chicken. I'll go around after we put it in the plucker. We'll get the last bits of feathers. Now it's not the way we do it with taking the skin off the breast after everything. All of this, the feathers down here don't matter, and obviously the ones on the breast don't. But I try to get it off just about everything else. Okay, then start with the head. I'm gonna separate the, right where I cut the jugular, I'm gonna pull the head and separate the neck there. And then you can go ahead and cut through the remaining skin. That, discard that. Then I'll go ahead, turn a chicken around, and I'll find the joint here, and I'll cut through. And as you're cutting, I'm prying away so it opens up the joint. Don't know how well you can see that, but and then you just keep cutting, and this way I'm cutting just the cartilage and not the bone. Put that there. Same thing with this one.
Okay, go inside the camper van. Also, what he's storing everything into, we have a bucket down here with all the guts and everything, and then we're composting that.
So this right here, we do 2 chickens at a time. That's how many cones we have. And I'll do the feet for both chickens, and then the gizzard and the heart for both chickens, and then we'll put them in the cooler all at once. So now at this point, normally I would put the neck facing me, but I'm gonna have it facing you because then you can see what's going on. So I'm gonna pinch just a little bit of the skin right here, and I want it to be just about at where the 2 breast bones meet right here at the top of this. I think it's the sternum for chickens too. And I just cut a little hole, and then if you look in here, you can see the crop right here. This is the crop. You want to make sure to get rid of that, and so that's why I cut that hole, because we'll get the crop and the esophagus and the rest of the throat out. Just kind of, I'd like to get my thumb behind it and then just pull, and that'll separate it. And then once I get it disconnected from the breast, I will go ahead and run my finger under in between the esophagus and the throat and the spine, and then pull that loose. So now we have the esophagus here, we have the crop, the esophagus, and then the throat. Then what I do is I'll stick my finger down towards the stomach and just separate the esophagus and throat from the lining there, so that it pulls through a little easier. Okay. Then I would turn it around, and again, this normally faces me, but we'll face it towards you. Then I take my fingers, 2 of them, and just tighten and pull up so I can cut. We want it just above the vent. That way we're saving as much of the skin and everything as possible. Then I will come across here, being careful not to perforate any of the intestines or gizzard or anything like that. So once I get through, I will use my fingers to make the hole a little bit bigger. So there is a bunch of fat right here next to the intestine. You can save or get rid of, that's your choice. But if you want to save it, you just kind of pull it separate. Pull the intestine down, pull the fat up. You can either pull the fat out or leave it kind of just hanging in after you separate it. And then I will put my 4 fingers in and work my way around the top, separating separating all the organs from the lining. This one's a little bit smaller, can't white, fit 4 fingers in there very easy. Then I grab it all once I get up, and then I'll pull. So you can see I got the crop here pulled through. And if you look in the esophagus, I did not quite grab the full esophagus. So I'll grab that on the next run with the heart, hopefully. Nope, just the heart. Remember? Okay, so now that all the organs are out, except I have the lungs and the esophagus, I want to make sure not to pull this too hard. And you can see just a little bit of poop just came out when I did that. So we want to go ahead and spray that and keep that away from all our good meat. We'll just keep that tucked down there. Bummer, the esophagus ripped, so I'm gonna actually pull it out the front. I want to reach in. There we go. Pull it out the front. Okay, now, if you look way in there, you can see the lungs are under a flap of skin there. Or I guess it's the membrane, not skin. You just gotta reach there's a tool you can use, or you can use your fingers. I found every once in a while there's one that the tool would be nice to have, but most of them come out relatively simple enough. There's one lung.
Is the tool like a pumpkin carver?
Kinda. Yeah, it's like a circle with almost looking like a bread knife, kinda. Yeah. But in a circle. Okay. Tiny piece of lung didn't come out. Okay. Now at this point, I have all the innards out. And you can process at this point one of 2 ways. We don't eat the tail where the feathers were. So for us, we process it by, we'll cut down here, and then just cut the whole tail off. The other option is at the beginning, before, like when you're cutting the feet off, you could have got rid of this gland here and then left the tail. It adds a little bit of weight, but since we're processing these birds for us, we don't eat the tail. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut the whole tail off. Okay. Oh yeah, and instead of the tail, you just cut the vent hole off.
Not on the table. No, not on the table.
And go around here. Cut that.
Not on the table.
Okay. So then I'm going to take the gizzard, and I'm just going to, for now, I'm going to process all the gizzards at once. For now, I'm just cutting these where the intestines and everything else is connected. I just cut it off and pull any stringy fat off of it, and then just spray it. That's good enough for now. We'll process them further later. And I'll take all this, put it in the bucket, take the esophagus, put it in the bucket, and I will hold it. You can either hold it by sticking your fingers through here, hold it by the neck, hold it by the leg, whatever works for you. You want to clean the inside really good. And the outside. Okay, now there's a little bit of stuff sticking out there. I'm going to double check all around, make sure there's nothing major that sticks out. Okay, perfect. So then what I'm going to do, if you're doing a whole chicken, which means you're not parting it out, I make a little slit here, big enough for about 2 of my fingers. Then I'll put one of the chicken legs in, then I'll rotate it around, and I'll put my finger back in, push that through, and you hold it like that. And there's your butchered chicken. And at this point, I'll rinse it one more time. Spray the table off. While the water's all dripping out. And then we'll put it in the cool water for about 10 minutes. Then it can go in the freezer.